triggering sirens in the western Galilee. Now, the Israel Defense Forces said the army fired artillery at the source of the launch in response. One of the rockets was intercepted by Israel's Iron Dome defense system. The second fell in an open area, causing no serious damage or injury. But the Israeli military said those rockets were fired by a Palestinian group closely allied with Syria's Assad regime, but with backing as well from Hezbollah. Notably, the attack came hours after Syrian state media claimed that Israeli aircraft hit targets near the city of Aleppo. Now, in line with long-standing policy, the Israel Defense Force did not comment on those reported strikes. Now, for his part, Prime Minister Bennett spoke on the situation just a short while ago.
Lebanon is on the verge of collapse, as is any country in which Iran is based. Its citizens were taken hostage by Khamenei and Nasrallah in favor of Iranian interests. This is unfortunate, but we will not accept a leakage of the situation in Lebanon into Israel. As I said, whoever tries to harm us will pay a painful price.
Now, earlier we spoke with Sarit Zahavi, the former lieutenant colonel of IDF intelligence and a founder of the think tank Alma, all on the growing unrest in Lebanon and the threats to Israel.
I think Hezbollah is not interested in escalation and deterioration into war with Israel at the moment since the internal situation in Lebanon. So, to my assessment, the rockets were launched by Palestinian groups based in Lebanon, probably connected to Hamas. On Sunday, it was Tisha B'Av, a holy day for Jews that commemorate the destruction of the temple. That day there were riots on Temple Mount, and Israeli police officers had clashes with Palestinians that threw stones and were rioting on the Temple Mount. The videos that came out of these riots and these incidents into the Arab media were one-sided and showed half of the picture, creating the impression that Israel wants to take over Temple Mount, that Israel is deliberately acting in violence on the Temple Mount. And I think this is all part of the plot that says that Israel is interested in taking over Temple Mount and pushing out the Muslim mosques from the place. Of course, it has nothing to do with reality. And I think the rocket launching in this specific timing was a response to this. I'm a little bit worried about that because I think, okay, so anything that would now happen in Jerusalem, we would see rocket launching from Lebanon. Interesting.
Now we jump to our Middle East correspondent, Ariel Osiran, up on the border as we speak here. Now we've been just analyzing the sort of Palestinian angle to the rocket fire overnight. But Ariel, with Lebanon's current collapse, is the Israel Defense Establishment anticipating more cross-border unrest?
Well, David, the collapse is very real. The Lebanese economy is in a very dire situation. You have over 40% unemployment. Over half the population is living under the poverty line. And what the Israeli Defense Establishment is concerned from is the increased foothold that Iran is trying to get in Lebanon. We saw this very clearly when the leader of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, an Iranian-backed organization, he openly invited Iran to support the Lebanese people. And just a few weeks ago, we saw oil tankers from Iran arriving at the port of Lebanon. So Israel is concerned that the longer this crisis continues and the worse it gets, the more deteriorates, that Iran could increase its foothold on Israel's northern border, not only in Syria, where it has been doing in the past couple of years, but also in Lebanon. That's something that Israel is very concerned about.
Ariel Osiran, Middle East correspondent, coming to us from the Israel-Lebanon border. Thanks for the announcement.